I thought I was walking into a surprise birthday party. Instead, I walked into a courtroom. Not a real one, but it might as well have been. Rows of chairs. Over 200 people. Every single one of them staring at me like I was on trial. And the worst part, the people leading it, were my own parents. My name is Holly Dixon. I'm 32 years old. And 4 days after that night, my family was calling me nonstop, dozens of times a day. I never answered. And once you hear what they did, you'll understand why. But to make sense of that night, you need to understand something first. In my family, there were always two kinds of daughters. My younger sister, Megan, and everyone else. My father, Richard Dixon, built a successful real estate empire from nothing. He valued one thing above all else: results, profit, status. My mother followed his lead. She gave up her teaching career to become the perfect social wife, hosting dinners, climbing circles, maintaining appearances. And Megan, she was their masterpiece. Beautiful, charming, untouchable. I still remember the day I earned a full scholarship into a pre-med program. I was 16, standing on stage, searching the crowd for my parents. They weren't there. Megan had a dance performance. More important, my mother told me later, barely glancing up from her phone. That was the moment I started understanding my place. When I graduated nursing school years later, top of my class, I thought maybe things would change. They didn't. If only you chose business like Megan, my mother sighed, your father would be proud. It didn't matter that Megan dropped out of that same program. It didn't matter that I worked in an ICU, saving lives. In their eyes, she could do no wrong. And I could never do enough. So I adapted. I stayed quiet. I kept the peace. I made myself smaller, hoping one day they'd finally see me. But there was one person who always did. My grandmother. She was the only one who ever looked at me like I mattered. When I told her I wanted to be a nurse instead of joining the family business, she held my hands and said, "Taking care of people is the most meaningful work there is. Don't let anyone take that from you." 3 years ago, she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. Doctors gave her maybe 2 years. My parents suggested hiring help. Megan suggested a nursing home. I quit my job that same week. Moved in with her. And stayed. For 3 years, I took care of her every single day. Through the pain. Through the sleepless nights. Through everything. Meanwhile, Megan visited twice. My parents showed up once a month, for about 30 minutes. But my grandmother and I, we built something real. Something I didn't even realize would change my entire life. Because before she passed, she made a decision. One that my family didn't see coming. And one they were about to do anything to take from me. And it all started with one strange phone call. What did my sister suddenly want after ignoring me for years, and why did she ask about a lawyer before inviting me to that birthday party? 3 days before my birthday, my phone lit up with a name I hadn't seen in a long time. Megan. My sister never called me. Not on holidays. Not on birthdays. Not even when our grandmother was dying. So when I answered, I already knew something was off. Holly. Her voice was different. Softer. Almost sweet. Too sweet. Yeah. A pause. Then she asked something that made my stomach tighten. Have you gotten anything in the mail recently? Like, from a lawyer? I frowned. No, why? Another pause. Slightly longer this time. Just curious, she said quickly. Anyway, listen, we're planning something for you. For me. A birthday party. At the house. The whole family's coming. I almost laughed. In 32 years, my family had never thrown me a birthday party. Not once. And now suddenly, they wanted to celebrate me. We just feel like, Megan continued. After everything with Grandma, things have been distant. We want to fix that. Fix that. The words hit something deep inside me. A small, fragile part of me, the one that had spent years hoping they'd change, started to believe it. Okay, I said slowly. I'll come. Good, she replied quickly. It'll mean a lot. The call ended, and I just stood there, staring at my phone. Something wasn't right. I couldn't explain it yet, but I felt it. That uneasy feeling only got worse when my coworker Danny found me 10 minutes later, still frozen in the break room. He'd been my best friend since nursing school, the closest thing I had to family. What's wrong? He asked. I told him everything. The call. The party. The lawyer question. By the time I finished, his expression had completely changed. Holly, he said carefully, does this sound normal to you? They're trying to make things right, I replied, though even I didn't sound convinced. They've never done anything like this before, he said. Why now? People change. Not overnight, Danny said. They just get better at hiding things. I waved him off, forcing a small smile. You're overthinking it. But that night, lying in bed, I couldn't shake his words. The tone in Megan's voice. The question about the lawyer. Why would she care about that? The next day, things got even stranger. I ran into my Aunt Ruth at the grocery store. She grabbed my arm the second she saw me. Holly, we need to talk. Her voice was low. Urgent. She pulled me behind a display of watermelons like we were in some kind of spy movie. What's going on? I asked. She glanced around, then leaned closer. Do you know about Megan? My chest tightened. Know what? Ruth hesitated, then said it. She's in serious trouble. Financially. My heart dropped. What kind of trouble? She and her boyfriend invested in some high-risk scheme and lost almost everything. We're talking close to 200,000. I felt like the ground shifted beneath me. Does Dad know? He's panicking, Ruth said. Trying to find money anywhere he can. Her grip tightened on my arm. Holly, your family isn't planning a birthday party. My breath caught. What do you mean? They've been meeting, she whispered. Your parents and Megan. Talking about your grandmother's estate. Estate. The word echoed in my head. And? I asked, barely above a whisper. Ruth looked me straight in the eyes. I don't know exactly what they're planning, but it's not good. Before I could ask anything else, she let go of my arm and walked away. Just like that. Leaving me standing there, with more questions than answers. That night, for the first time in weeks, I checked my mailbox. And that's when I saw it. A single envelope. Heavy. Official. From a law office. Addressed to me. My hands started shaking as I opened it. Because deep down, I already knew. This wasn't about a birthday. This was about something else. Something my family wanted. And thought I didn't understand yet. What was inside that letter? And why did my family gather 200 people just to confront me about it on my birthday? I should have opened that letter right away. Maybe everything would have been different. But I didn't. And that mistake led me straight into the worst night of my life. The night of my birthday party. When I pulled up to my parents' house, the first thing I noticed was the cars. Dozens of them. Lining both sides of the street. Far too many, for a simple party. A cold feeling crept into my chest. I texted Danny before stepping out. I'm here. Something feels wrong. His reply came instantly. I'm nearby. Call me if anything happens. That gave me just enough courage to walk to the door. It was unlocked. I stepped inside. And froze. No decorations. No music. No laughter. Instead, rows of chairs. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. All filled. Every single seat occupied. And every single person, staring at me. It felt like walking into a courtroom. Or an execution. Before I could process anything, Megan appeared beside me, smiling. Too wide. Too perfect. You made it, she said, gripping my arm. What is this? I whispered. You'll see. She didn't let go. Just guided me forward like I had no choice. The crowd parted as we walked. No one said happy birthday. No one smiled. Just silence. Heavy. suffocating silence. And then, I was standing alone at the front of the room, facing 200 people. My father stood up, picked up a microphone. "Thank you all for coming," he said, his voice echoing. My heart started pounding. "Tonight," he continued, "we're here to address a serious matter." "Serious matter? Dad, what is this?" I asked. "Be quiet," he snapped. "I'm not finished." The room went dead silent. He pulled out a thick stack of papers, held them up like evidence. "For 32 years, he said, "your mother and I have raised you, fed you, clothed you, educated you." My stomach dropped. And then he said it. "We kept track of everything." A murmur spread through the crowd. Every dollar, every expense, every single thing. He flipped to the last page. "The total," he said slowly, "is $400,000. I felt like I couldn't breathe. 400,000, he repeated, staring directly at me, wasted on a daughter who turned her back on her family. I started. "You have two choices," he cut me off. He slammed the papers onto the table. "Pay it back." The room felt like it was spinning. "Or," he continued, sliding another document forward, "sign away your claim to your grandmother's house." Everything inside me went still. "My claim, to what?" "The house," he said sharply. "Don't pretend you don't know." "I haven't even read the letter yet," I said. "Doesn't matter," he snapped. "Sign it." And then, my mother stood up, walked to the wall behind her. The family photo wall. My entire life, hanging in frames. She reached up and tore one down. A photo of me at 5 years old. Smiling. Happy. She ripped it in half. The sound echoed through the room. 32 years, she said, her voice shaking with fake emotion, raising an ungrateful child. Another photo. Ripped. Another. Ripped. My graduation. My childhood. My memories. Destroyed. Right in front of 200 people. And then she picked up the one that broke me. A photo of me and my grandmother. Taken just weeks before she passed. She didn't hesitate. She tore it. Like it meant nothing. Like I meant nothing. And no one stopped her. Not one person. Then Megan stepped forward, reached into my purse, and pulled out my car keys, smiling. "Oh, and this," she said casually. "Dad already transferred it to me." I stared at her, at my parents, at the crowd. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was planned. Every second of it. They wanted to humiliate me, break me, force me to give up something I didn't even understand yet. I could have cried. I could have begged. But I didn't. Instead, I took a breath and asked one simple question. "Dad, have you actually read Grandma's will?" The room shifted. Just slightly. "What?" he snapped. "The will," I said calmly. "The legal document. Have you read it?" "I don't need to read it," he said. "The house belongs to the family." "Are you sure about that?" For the first time. He hesitated. Just for a second. And that was all I needed. Because suddenly, I wasn't the one on trial anymore. They were. What was really in my grandmother's will? And why did my family start calling me nonstop just 4 days after trying to destroy me? I stood there, in front of 200 people. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel small. "Are you sure about that?" I repeated. My father's confidence cracked, just slightly. "You're asking me to sign away something," I continued, calm and steady, "that you haven't even verified." The room started to shift. Whispers. Confusion. People looking at each other instead of just staring at me. And then I said something that changed everything. "How much do you owe, Megan?" Her face went pale. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The investments," I cut in. "The money you lost. How deep are you?" Now the room was alive. Murmurs spreading like wildfire. My mother stepped forward quickly. "This isn't about Megan." "No," I said firmly. "It is." Because now it made sense. The sudden kindness. The fake birthday. The 200 witnesses. This wasn't a celebration. It was a setup. They thought I had something they could take. And they wanted an audience when they took it. I looked at all of them, my parents, my sister, the people who sat there and watched in silence. I'm not signing anything, I said clearly. My father slammed his hand on the table. Sign it, or you're no longer part of this family. And that's when something inside me finally broke free. I looked him straight in the eyes. Then I guess I'm not. Silence. Real silence this time. Not controlled. Not planned. Just shock. I reached into my pocket, held my grandmother's bracelet for a second, then turned and walked out. No one stopped me. Not one person. That night, I left everything behind. And for 4 days, I ignored every single call. Because something told me. They hadn't realized their mistake yet. But they were about to. On the second day, I finally opened the letter. The one from the lawyer. My hands were shaking as I read it. And when I finished, I just sat there, staring. Because my grandmother had left everything to me. The house. Fully in my name. Not shared. Not divided. Mine. And then I read the next part. The part they never saw coming. If anyone tried to pressure, threaten, or manipulate me into giving it up, they would lose any claim to her remaining assets. Completely. My grandmother knew. She knew exactly what they would try to do. And she protected me, even after she was gone. That's when it hit me. That trial. That public humiliation. They didn't just hurt me. They destroyed themselves. Because by trying to force me, in front of 200 witnesses, they triggered the very clause that cut them off completely. That's why the calls started. Non-stop. Dozens a day. Voicemails. Messages. Panic. Because now they understood. The house was never theirs. It was never going to be. And the moment they tried to take it, they lost everything else too. 4 days later, they showed up at my door. All 3 of them. For the first time in my life. They looked desperate. We made a mistake, my father said. We just want to talk, my mother added. Megan stepped forward. I need help. I looked at them. Really looked at them. And realized something that changed everything. They weren't sorry for what they did. They were sorry it didn't work. So I said the only thing left to say. No. Not loud. Not angry. Just, final. I'm done being treated like I don't matter. And then I closed the door. That was the moment my life actually began. I moved into my grandmother's house. Built a life where I wasn't invisible. Where I didn't have to earn love. Where I didn't have to shrink. Because for the first time, I understood something she had been trying to teach me all along. I was always enough. I just needed to stop asking the wrong people to prove it. If you were in my place, would you have forgiven them or walked away for good?